Hey, we're going to break in because just a few hours after we completed the final edit of this video, Ford announced that they're doubling their EV production estimate by the end of 2023. And we thought you should keep that in mind while you're watching this video. If you pay attention to the business press or Rivian and Tesla fanboys, and by the way, I own a Tesla. In fact, I'm on my second Tesla and my sixth electric vehicle. Keep that in mind. Anyway, you'll hear that Ford, General Motors, and all of the other, quote, legacy unquote, car companies are doomed. These guys give Tesla an unlimited amount of credit for executing their vision, while at the same time giving Ford and GM nearly zero credit for actual production. As an example of this irrational exuberance is Rivian's stock market debut. A company with only a few 100,000 orders that has only delivered a few dozen vehicles is now valued at more than Ford, GM, VW, and everyone else other than Tesla and Toyota. Now, what does Rivian have going for it? Rivian's got a lot going for it. It's got a 100,000 unit order from Amazon for delivery trucks. Now, that's at an undisclosed price, but you know it's at a very low, potentially non-existent profit margin. It has very deep pockets to execute their grand plans. And it's got great looking pickup trucks with great reviews in a market that really wants pickup trucks. They could be another Tesla story, and early investors could be rewarded big. The problem is that Rivian in 2021 and 2022 is not early to invest. A safe-ish, but still early time to invest in Rivian was 2018. And guess who did? Ford and Amazon. What's wrong with Ford? This gets to the point of why Ford is so far less likely to fail in the next 20 years than it was just a few years ago. I mean, conventional wisdom is that Ford, GM, and the other legacy car makers suffer from the twos. Too late, too slow, and just too stupid. Elon has earned his arrogance, but that does not mean that everyone else is doomed. Here are two things that you might already be aware of that indicate Ford is on the right track. One is Blue Oval City, and the other is trucks. So let's start with Blue Oval City. What you're looking at is Ford's mind-bogglingly large 6 square mile Blue Oval City EV complex. Now, consumers and companies love pickup trucks, and trucks make money. Ford has the best-selling truck brand on the planet, with pre-orders with deposits for its F-150 electric Lightning EV of more than 150,000 units already. Here are a few things you might not be aware of. Ford's Mach-E electric SUV is sold out everywhere and is outselling Tesla in notable EV markets like Norway. Morgan Stanley reported in March of 2021 that the Mach-E accounted for nearly 100% of Tesla's market share loss. Ford is going to sell 58,000 Mach-E's in 2021. Not bad for a first-year production of an almost completely new technology to them. And this is all before the F-150 Lightning hits the road in 2022. Remember that Ford sold a massive 790,000 F-150s in 2020. They should be able to convert about half of those into EV truck sales within 5 or 6 years. That's 400,000 units a year of just electric F-150s. Even if you think Ford's massive investments in electric vehicles and development and their production is not enough to save it, and we think it is, there are some parts of Ford that you might not be aware of. Ford's investments in other EV and AV companies is a big deal. Ford is not a small company, and they have many quiet investments. Remember that little company with the insanely high stock valuation named Rivian? Well, guess who owns 12% of it? Yep, that's correct, Ford. That means 11% of Ford's current market valuation is actually accountable to Rivian. Then there's the fact that Ford does not just own a big chunk of Rivian, they have a technology transfer deal with them, which will make both of them successful. Ford will help Rivian with its massive inventory of patents and its manufacturing prowess, while Rivian will help Ford with their new EV patents and tech. That means products like the F-150 and future Fords are likely to be quite innovative and capture consumers' interest. Ford also has the best-selling commercial truck fleet in the world. But you may not be aware that Ford's already started deliveries of the 2022 eTransit van line, which is pretty innovative. They also have Ford Pro fleet management software and data services, which makes them big money. Get this. In September of 2021, Forbes said the company anticipates Ford will grow its capabilities and appeal and will generate $45 billion from Ford Pro revenue from hardware and new services by 2025. Then there's Ford's 40% ownership in Argo AI. VW paid $2.6 billion for another 40% of Argo just a few months after Ford paid $1 billion for it. And if you think those two 100-year-old companies are stupid, you're likely to be very, very disappointed. Argo will be going public shortly with an expected valuation of $7.5 billion. That will triple Ford's investment to about $3 billion. Again, the value to Ford is not just the investment, it is in the technology transfer. Ford decided to build a greenfield electric manufacturing facility like Blue Oval City because they needed to invent the production line. Again, get this, Ford will eliminate many of the robotics used in traditional auto manufacturing by turning on the electric drive system of their next-gen EVs and have them drive themselves down the line to different stations. Another thing is people overestimate the numbers here. How big do you think the global EV market actually is? Well, fanboys and green activists will argue that the market is ready now. After all, they say, just look at the roughly 1.5 million units Tesla has on back order. Well, the news flash to those is that the global market for vehicles is about 80 million units. So let's do some rough math here and include all other EV manufacturers and blindly overstate that roughly 4 million EVs could be sold today. That's just awesome, but it's only 5% of the market. Heavy expansion of your already successful presence in a growing business is a good thing, and that is where Ford is today. If Ford only made EVs today, the market for EVs might be perhaps double the size that it is. But that would mean that Ford would be bankrupt. It's still not big enough yet. Will Ford successfully transition to electric and autonomous vehicles? Look, betting against Ford in 2017 made some sense. Ford was letting Tesla and the Chinese and other startups eat their lunch back then. But 5 years on is a long time in the high-tech industry, and that's where the automotive sector is going. Elon Musk and Tesla have brilliantly managed and marketed the world's best vehicles. And note that I didn't say the world's best EVs. Just because I'm not a Tesla fanboy doesn't mean that I don't recognize Tesla makes the best consumer vehicles, period. Okay, now here's another thing. Cars are not politicians. So unfortunately, the Rivian and Tesla fanboys have taken a page from American politicians and decided that the only way they can be right is to claim that everyone else is wrong. I mean fundamentally at the core. They're stupid and it's gonna fail. But unlike American politics, there are not just two choices. Today, there are a dozen choices of EVs, and by 2024, you can see here, there'll be 60 choices in electric vehicles from real manufacturers with proven track records, like Ford. Ford does not have to get 80% market share, and it doesn't even have to be bigger than Tesla to be wildly successful. Ford just needs to keep making products that they can sell today, while carefully working on the electric vehicles of tomorrow. When that market is ready is when they can sell them. So 5 points for a company like Ford to survive and thrive in the future of EVs. The future of mobility is very complex, but it can be distilled down to some key elements. Number one, have successful consumer brands like Mustang, F-150, and Bronco that can transition nervous consumers into EV fans. Point two, have an insanely successful commercial brand like Ford Connect vans that fleets will eagerly embrace as EVs, which can be expanded to bring billions of profitable service and data dollars in. 3, build the world's largest automotive manufacturing complex and call it Blue Oval City. 4, invest early in big names of the future like Argo AI and Rivian. And lastly, keep advancing your tech with innovations like electric vehicles moving themselves down the factory production line. So, mission accomplished? Hardly. But betting that Ford is going to fail in the next few years, or even the next decade, is about as silly as Rivian's $140 billion market cap. Hey, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and subscribe is always appreciated. If you have any questions, just put them in the comment section below. We'll get back to you, or somebody else will. And you can always get a hold of us at www.partisanissues.com. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.